Good morning class, Sairam. Today we are going to start our topic with moment of inertia, and in this topic we will learn that actually we will understand first what is the meaning of moment of inertia. Okay, inertia is what? Inertia is, you can say, is kind of resistance. Okay, if there is any particular given body and if you apply some kind of force, okay, then it will try to resist its motion. Why? Because due to its mass. Okay, if mass is greater, then greater will be the resistance. So inertia is nothing but change, or it is just an opposition to change. Okay, so more amount of mass, then if there is more amount of mass, then there will be more amount of inertia. So for a rotating body, inertia is given by, moment of inertia is defined by this formula. It is given by mr square. Okay, mass of the body multiplied by radius r square. So understand what is the r actually. Suppose if we have a particle, if we have a body, okay, that is of uniform mass, that you can consider a kind of ring, and if it is rotating, okay, then in rotation also it will show some kind of opposition. And what will be that opposition? If its radius is r and its mass is m, then you will say that for any particle or for any elementary ring, this mi will be mr square. If instead of this ring we consider just a particle whose mass is equal to the mass of ring, and if this particle is rotating about any particular center, then its moment of inertia again will be mr square. Okay, if you have more than one particle, suppose first particle, then second particle, okay, then what you will say, that I equal to mr square means m1 r square plus m2 r square. Okay, in such a way you will give total amount of I. And if you have more than one particle but having different radius, like first particle is having r1 radius and second particle is having r2 radius, I mean to say it may be like this: your first particle is somewhere here and second particle is somewhere here. Their center is common but radius is different. It has some radius, we will name that r2. It has some radius, we will name it r1. Okay, and both are rotating about a common point. Then in that condition, total moment of inertia will be given by mi r I square. That means m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. Okay, like this. After that, here also you can read that moment of inertia is what? Moment of inertia of a rigid body about a fixed axis or fixed point is defined as the sum of the product to the masses of the particle constituting the body and the square of their respective distance, that is radius, about the axis of rotation. Or moment of inertia in general terms is given by mr square, as I explained you. Okay, next thing is what will be the unit of moment of inertia. So we know that unit of mass is kg, you can understand, and radius is meter square. Okay, r square will be meter square, so kg meter square will be its unit. Here also you can read in your pdf that this is kg meter square, and its dimension you know very well, it will be ml square. For kg we write mass, and for meter square we write l square. Okay, then we have next thing, that relation between angular momentum and moment of inertia. What is the relation between angular momentum? So angular momentum is L, and you know what was L? That is linear momentum into distance. Okay, that was defined in this way. So we know that if we have many particles, okay, try to understand, if we have any circular body and if we have many particles, like first particle is here, second particle is here, third particle is here, and their common axis of rotation is what? That is the center point. Okay, in that case, if every particle is rotating like this, if whole body is rotating, then what we will say? We will say that each particle will have angular momentum, this one m1 v1 r1. For first particle we will write m1 v1. This m1 v1 is what? This is linear momentum, and this r1 is what? Its distance from the center. So what we will write angular momentum for first particle? Suppose here we have, again let me draw first particle, second particle. Okay, it is moving with velocity v1, and second particle is moving with velocity v2, and this is r1, and here we have r2. Okay, like that. So we will say m1 v1 for first particle into r1, for second particle m2 v2 into r2, and so on we will write. Okay, now we know that v is linear velocity and its relation with angular velocity is given by v equal to r omega. Okay, so we will replace v1 equal to what? v1 equal to r1 omega, and for a rotating body angular velocity is same, omega is same, so we will not write it omega 1 and omega 2, we will write only omega. So we can write that m equal to, or this L equal to m1 b1 r1 or m1 r1 square omega, similarly m2 r2 square omega, and so on. Now take omega common, what you will get? You will get m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square, and so on. So what is this m1 r1 square? You know, this is moment of inertia of whole body. Okay, this is moment of inertia, not of any particle, not of any single particle, this is of whole body. So we will write I. Okay, individual moment of inertia are added up, I1, I2, I3, etc. So what is the relation that we got here? That is angular momentum L equal to I into omega. Okay, I is moment of inertia of whole body, and omega its angular velocity or velocity of rotation. Then next what we have, I already told you that this m1 r1 square in the previous slide, m1 r1 into r2 square, this was I, is called moment of inertia of whole body. Okay, now second thing here we need to understand, that is called radius of gyration. Okay, radius of gyration is what? The radius of gyration of a body about any axis may be defined as the distance from the axis of mass point whose mass is equal to the mass of whole body and whose moment of inertia is equal to the moment of inertia of the body. Okay, here you can read now clearly that radius of gyration is what? Of any body, it is defined as the distance of the axis of the mass, second line, then the point whose mass is equal to the mass of whole body, and moment of inertia is equal to the moment of inertia of whole body. Okay, and how we calculate it? Basically, actually it is saying what? Let me draw a diagram. It is saying that if you have m1 particle, then you have m2 particle, then you have m3 particle, and suppose a body is made up of many number of particle, then each particle will have its own moment of inertia, say m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square, and so on. Finally what you write? You write it m r square. Suppose if instead of all these masses we can write this as I equal to whole mass m into k square. In equivalent form if we can write this, then this k will be radius of gyration. Okay, and this radius of gyration will be given by following formula, and that is what? That is k equal to under root I upon m. And how we got this formula? Because I is mr square, instead of r we have to write k. Okay, and remember that k is equivalent radius for whole body. Okay, if accurately you want to calculate k, then how you will calculate? First radius of first particle plus radius of second particle in square form, and r square divided by n and taking under root. Okay, this is the mean value, root mean square value of all the radius, and again it will give you the equivalent radius k. So again definition says what? Definition says that hence the radius of gyration of a rotating body about a given axis is equal to the root mean square distance of the constraint particles from the given axis. After this we have next concept, that is theorem of perpendicular axis. Okay, So what is it? Understand, it states that the moment of inertia of a planar body or lamina, or that is called planar body, about an axis perpendicular to its plane is equal to the sum of its moment of inertia about two perpendicular axes, okay, and concurrent with the perpendicular axis and lying in the plane. That means Izz equal to Ixx plus Iyy. Actually this is the statement which I told you. This is a statement of the perpendicular axis theorem. Now we need to understand each and every word of this, okay. Suppose if you have any particular body which is rotating, like this is your circular body or that is rotating, then it may rotate in three direction, in three manner it can rotate. It can rotate about z axis, like in this way it can rotate, or it can rotate in this way also, that is about x axis. This whole circular body can rotate, and this circular body can rotate about this y axis, like in this way. So you can rotate any given body in three ways, okay. Suppose if you are rotating your body about z axis, okay, suppose you are rotating this whole circular body, this is circular plate like that, and if you are rotating about this perpendicular axis or z axis like this, okay, then radius will be this one. Its moment of inertia will be written as, instead of I we will write that mz, and this will be mr square, okay. Remember r will be this radius in that case. Then it is saying that this will be Izz. It will be represented by Izz because your body is rotating about z axis. Similarly, Ixx is what? That is moment of inertia of the body if it is rotating about x axis, okay. And Iy is what? The moment of inertia of the same body if it is rotating about y axis. So it is saying that your Izz equal to Ixx plus Iyy. So understand how can we say that? Actually we know that by Pythagoras, this, suppose this radius is x and this radius is y, this is x and this is y, then this hypotenuse will be what? This will be the radius of the body if it is rotating like this way, this O as a center, and this will be the radius. And this hypotenuse, this radius can be determined by following equation, that is x square plus y square. So we can write mz square, that is this radius or hypotenuse z, will be equal to what? M, and z is hypotenuse. By Pythagoras we can write perpendicular square plus base square, okay, and this perpendicular square plus base square will be how much? This will be m x square plus y square. Now we can write down this separately, that mx square plus y square will be mx square separately plus my square separately. So this mx square is what? That is Iyy, and this my square will be Ixx, okay. Remember, it is opposite to the radius, because if you will see Ixx, okay, if I ask you what is Ixx, then in that case you have to take this as a radius in this direction, okay, then y will be your radius. So we are saying that Ixx is my square. Next we have theorem of parallel axis. So parallel axis says what? If a body is given and it has some moment of inertia about its center of mass, and this will be given by, in this diagram you can see that your moment of inertia ICM, if ICM is given, then from its center at a distance h, if you want to calculate this I, then this I will be written as ICM, moment of inertia about its center of mass, plus this will be mr square, and this will be mass of this body into this r will be this radius h square. So this theorem is known as parallel axis theorem, okay. The formula, you can read this formula, that is I equal to ICM plus mh square. Now one table is given, you have to note down all the values from this table. This may be important for numerical purpose, like if you have a thin circular ring, okay, in that case what will be your moment of inertia. Axis of rotation is given here and figure is also given, like this is the sign in which your body is rotating. Then in such condition your moment of inertia will be given by this formula mr square, and radius of gyration is r. Similarly, if your circle is rotating about diameter like in this way, okay, in that case moment of inertia becomes half, that is mr square by 2. Then instead of this we will write mk square, and if we compare k, then k will come out this r by root 2, because if you will write moment of inertia mk square, instead of k just put r by root 2 and its whole square, what you will get? You will get mr square by 2. And why it is half? Because here we have applied the perpendicular axis theorem, because moment of inertia about this axis ixx and iyy is just half of izz, okay, because summation of ix and summation of iy gives you iz. Similarly, you have next case, that is thin rod and after that circular disc, and their values are given, okay. You have to note down all these values. Here you can see that moment of inertia is given mr square by 2 in case of circular disc. Similarly, a circular disc of radius r and it is moving about diameter, it is given by mr square by 4. And then you have hollow cylinder. For hollow cylinder, your moment of inertia formula is mr square. Basically inside hollow cylinder there is nothing, okay, there is nothing, so we can consider this is just a ring of mass m, or ring means just a particle of mass m, okay. In that case it will give the similar result mr square. Then we have solid cylinder. For this we have result mr square by 2, and for solid sphere you will get 2 by 5 mr square. As you know, your exam is objective, okay, so for that you will be asked for this result, okay, or some simple numerical in which you have to put the values and you will be asked to determine their moment of inertia values, okay. Derivation cannot be asked, because for derivation you have to write your answer, okay. In theory, for like theoretically you have to write for their proof, and that is not a format of exam this year, so don't worry about that. So learn all these results, just learn their simple applications, how can we get their any particular answer for any numerical. And then here we have next topic, that is kinetic equations of rotational motion. So learn all these three equations. A simple numerical will be asked to you based on their application. Like first equation is what? Omega is final angular velocity, omega naught is initial angular velocity, alpha t. Now like in we have linear motion we have v equal to u plus at, okay. So v is your final velocity. Here final velocity is represented by omega, and u is initial velocity, that is omega naught, and a is acceleration. So here alpha is your acceleration and t is the same time. Basically in this formula I am talking about this condition that if your body is rotating, okay, if your body is rotating, then initially this circle or this particular body is rotating, or instead of circle you can take a simple example. Okay, let me give you one simple illustration. Suppose a man is running on a circular ground. This is your circular ground and this is your man who is running in the circular ground. And if suppose at starting this man is moving with some initial velocity omega naught, and after that omega naught means what? Per second how much angle you cover. Suppose in first second you cover 10 degree, then in next second you cover 20 degree angle, means you are increasing your velocity. So that 10 degree is your omega naught and 20 degree is your omega, and alpha will be what? Alpha is your angular acceleration, that is final velocity minus initial velocity upon time. But this velocity is given in radian per second, okay, not in meter per second. Similarly, your second equation, that was s equal to ut plus half at square, that equation is replaced here by this formula, that s is, instead of linear displacement we have angular displacement theta, okay, that is angle covered, and initial velocity is omega naught this half a is given by, a is mentioned by alpha over here, that is angular acceleration, and equation is same. So simple question may be asked like omega naught may be given, alpha may be given, so that you can apply, you can calculate your angular displacement theta. Okay, and third equation you already know. In third equation what we have in simple kinematics, we have v square equal to u square plus minus 2as. okay, it is plus as well as minus, because for negative acceleration we write minus. So here you can write v square minus u square equal to 2as in simple form. So this v square will be mentioned by omega square, final velocity, u square is omega naught square, minus 2as, that is alpha into, and s will be theta. So you can see that third equation is given here, that v square minus u square, instead of v square minus u square we have omega naught, omega square minus omega naught square, and here we have 2ax minus x naught, x minus x naught. If your x naught is 0, initial position is origin only, then you can write it 2 alpha x or 2 alpha theta only. Okay, so these are three equation of motion which are followed in this way. After that, here we have some more comparison formula. You can see that in pure translation motion we have position given by x, in pure rotational motion position is given by theta. Velocity is given by dx over dt, that is displacement upon time. Here angular velocity is given by d theta over dt. Here acceleration is given by dv over dt, and here your angular acceleration is given by d omega by dt, because dv is change in velocity and d omega is also change in velocity, but in angular velocity. Okay, and mass is given by m. Here instead of mass we use analog term I, like all those values, all those formula in which we have used m we can replace by I. Okay, like here you can see the next formula, that is given by torque equal to that is given by force equal to ma. So here instead of force we will have torque, that is rotational force basically, and rotational force is given name as torque, and that torque will be, instead of m we will have I, and a and linear acceleration will be replaced by alpha. Okay, and after that we have work done. What is formula for work done? That is force into displacement. In translation motion, that means when particle move in a straight line, work done is given by this formula, f into dx. Here f will be replaced by torque tau, and dx will be replaced by d theta. Okay, and after that we have next formula, that is kinetic energy. So in translation motion what we have kinetic energy, that is half mv square, and in rotational motion we have kinetic energy, that is half I, because m is replaced by, this m is replaced by I, and this v square will be replaced by omega square, so we can say half I omega square. And few more formula we have, like you can say that power is given by force into velocity, we know this, and here power will be given by, this force will be replaced by what, this will be replaced by torque, and v will be replaced by omega. And last we have that is linear momentum, and that is mv in your translation motion, and in angular momentum your L is given by, instead of m we will write I, and v will be replaced by omega, so your angular momentum is I omega. So this is all for this chapter. Okay, you learn this chapter, you make notes in your fair notebook and revise all these concepts. Okay, thank you. Sai Ram.